you guys. My name is Jay, and I have a special guest with me here today. This is
Laura.
so I have Laura here with me today, and I am very excited to announce her as my winner for the training give back that I did a few weeks ago. And so, Laura, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, your name, your age, and where you're from.
So it's Laura Guajardo. I am 35 and born and raised in Houston.
Okay. Do you plan on leaving soon? Is this where you want to stay?
Travel a lot, yes, but this is home base.
Your home.
Yeah.
Home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
So definitely here. I'm glad. So I'm very excited to have Laura here with me today. And so in this little series that we're coming up with, I want to share Laura's story with everybody and be able to connect with people and keep you guys updated with how her journey is going and things that we're doing and accomplishing. So the training give back I announced a few weeks ago is 3 months of free personal training. I did require all participants to upload progress photos from the front, side, and back view of their current physique, and also a video recording of what their why is. And so with all of that information, I took into account the story, the energy, and just the connection level with the person. And so I'm very happy to have picked Laura and have you here over these next 3 months. I'm very excited to see what we can accomplish together and how far we can go. So one of the first things that I want to ask you was, how did you hear about the training give back? Like, how did it come up for you? Was it something that you knew about, or?
I was on Poppy's Run for Life's account. I managed their Instagram account, and I saw your video, and I was like, oh, I want to see what's going on here. So I clicked on it, and just listening to your story, listening how you were putting out a giveaway, and that's very commendable for everything that you said on that video. And that's how I found you. And I remember I immediately DM'd you, but from the Poppy's Run for Life account. So obviously you had no idea who this was.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know who this is, but yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so it was funny. I was like, oh wait, I should have DM'd you from my personal account. But anyways.
Yeah. Really quickly, can you tell us what Poppy's Run for Life is? And for those people who don't know.
Yes, so Poppy's Run for Life, it just started last year. This is a fundraising nonprofit for suicide awareness and prevention. And meeting the director, just Karen, finding her and listening to what had happened to last year of 2023 for February, having about 2 suicides back to back. It was pretty impacting, and that kind of just got me involved, and I reached out to her, and just from there it's been history, and I've been their spokesperson and managing their Instagram account. So I'm very grateful for that journey, but that's how I saw your video, and I reached out immediately.
Yeah. So you don't have to think twice about it. Like, immediately you knew, like, I'm going for it.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Like, I want to go for something like this.
Opportunity. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that. Some people, it's kind of hard to take that step. Like, internally and initially, their reaction is like, yes, I want to do it. But sometimes we have like this wall in front of us that it's super hard to break through. And so I'm glad that you didn't have to think twice about it. You just knew.
Yeah.
The opportunity presented itself, and so the 5K is held in March, right?
Yes.
So last March, I actually signed up for the same 5K that she's a spokesperson for. And so when I found out that she was affiliated with that program, I went back and I scrolled through my gallery, and I found a video that I was kind of just like recording everything before we actually started the race, and Laura was in my video at that time. And immediately I sent it to her when she submitted, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, we've crossed paths before, but we didn't know.
I know, that was like right there.
Yeah, I know.
Too cute.
So that was, I felt like I'm always very firm in, like, we are where we're meant to be, whether if that's I don't know, like right now in this moment or later on in life, we're gonna figure out like that's why I was there, like that's why that happened for me. And so trusting the process is very, very, very important, but it's also very hard because sometimes we want to go against the grain. And it's like, well, no, I want this route, but it's like you are where you're meant to be. Just trust.
Yeah, well said. That's exactly how my journey, and I could only imagine your journey has been constantly so empowering, but at the same humbling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So before I actually picked the winner and really decided on who I wanted to win these next 3 months, I really had to sit down and really figure out what my purpose was and what the reason on what my why for this give back is. Just the same reason that I listened to your why and a few other women's. It was very important for me to understand everybody's why and in what or in what extent I could play a role in. And so your story was definitely unique. It was very impactful. And in the same way that we were able to connect through sharing my story. I am very, very excited to experience how much more connection we can reach just by, the internet and sharing. So when it came down to picking the winner, I definitely felt a strong connection to you, and immediately my heart knew that this is what I was made for, and not only for like the workouts, like all right, cool, like sweat, but it's more of like the interaction that we get to experience and the conversations we're going to be able to have and share. So definitely, my heart was set on you, and even from the beginning, like even since March, like we were meant to experience that together, but on our own.
Yeah.
And you've definitely overcame a lot of challenges. You faced a lot of battles that you were able to overcome, and I feel like you've definitely put in a lot of work on your own, of course with help of many others, but you've persevered over all of the battles that you faced. And so I do want you to share your story a little bit of your background, how you made it to today, and just a little bit more about you.
Yeah, so oh gosh, it's been a big journey. A lot of things that were so unexpected. I guess that's kind of where I found myself the most with going through challenges. 2003 literally was a big year for me. I immediately became so sick, very anemic. I was rushed into Texas Children's Hospital for a blood transfusion for 3 pints of blood. Wow. I was completely about to just go. And it turns out I was diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease. And so immediately just a lot of Western medicine pumped into me for the next year or so. Then it unfortunately progressed to Crohn's disease, and I had to get a full colectomy. I lost all of my colon, and went through having the colostomy bag for on and off for 2 years. And then by the grace of God, honestly, I was able to heal certain parts of myself to actually be closed off and not have to be stuck with a colostomy bag since I was 15. Honestly, it was such a moment of despair, I want to say, because it's like I lost so much of myself, and now I have this new gadget on me that is not pretty. It is not easy, but it helped me sustain myself. So that was one of my biggest hurdle right off the bat, turning into my teen years.
Being a teen, being very young and having to just completely
understand that it was. And so from there, honestly, I went undiagnosed with clinical depression, but that's what it was. It just somehow I just slipped through the cracks and just made it seem like everything's okay, and it wasn't. It was just what they call it, like a triple, an effect of actually trickling water just into a bucket, a little bit by little bit by little bit. And all of a sudden, by 2017, my life was pretty challenging. I had a pretty rough relationship with my partner at that time. And I also worked at Centerpoint Energy. I worked for the Harvey emergency crew for the gas and electric side. And I was always at this tipping point, but I masked it really well with a lot of my loved ones. So a lot of people didn't really know the extent of my clinical depression. So that was really, it was a big hit of awareness that I did not have. I did not understand how I got to that point of hiding it so well. So big one, big hit for me. By the time 2018 happened, it's a new year, January, everybody's going back to work. I was frozen. I could not move. I was just stuck in a big lake of my depression at that time. And it got to a point where immediately 1 hour after the next, I immediately thought suicide was my solution. And I never had thought about it before. That's the thing that really, I look back at it, I'm like, I don't think I ever felt like harming myself, but it was just one moment to the next. Yeah, it was done. I was tapped out, and I had no way of actually vocalizing it because I didn't know what it was. I just thought at that moment that was it. I've done the best that I could, and that was it. So my suicide attempt was actually at my Midtown apartment. I jumped out of my 4th bedroom window. I landed on both feet. I broke both my ankles and the bottom lumbar of my spine. Another moment, grace of God. I did not feel any pain at that time. I was completely conscious when it happened. But all I can remember is the fact that I heard the ambulance coming and I was rushed to the hospital. And from there, I was in a wheelchair up until April 2018. That's when I started getting on crutches. And it's so amazing to me sometimes where I'm like, how did I do that? How did I bounce out of a wheelchair?
That's 4 months.
I know, like, within 4 months. And it's so like surreal looking back at it. But I understand that there's always been a determination within me. There's always been this tenacity to keep going. I just kind of had to get out of my own way. Yeah. So from there, I was in crutches in April 2018. By the time I want to say 2019 rolled around, I was fully able to walk on my own, no assistance. The only difference with my ankle injuries was my left foot actually broke the bone, broke the skin. So my bone had to like completely be repaired. It went through a little bit more of a challenge. I couldn't kick at all. Like, I forgot what that injury is called, but there was a nerve damage that I was unable to lift my leg for a good while. And what I did was, apart from physical therapy, which was also Tier Memorial, I was inpatient and I was outpatient Tier Memorial, and I give them so much credit for pushing me and me following through, because that was also, it was like 3 times a week I had to go, and I would drive myself and I would show up. I would be in tears going there. I remember those moments where I was like, I don't know how this is going to get better. And I was always so impatient. And like, at the same time, I was telling me, when is this going to get better? Like, and they would all be like, we can't tell you. This is all up to you. This is all up to you. And I'm like, okay, well, this is my life now. Like, I have to keep moving. I have to keep moving. So yeah, with joy and a bunch of tears later, I actually was able to overcome it. I remember I also went to the Montrose Center. That's another big organization that really helped me, not only mentally, because they do have a lot of mental health assistance. Another moment where I was just in pure tears, I drove myself to a Remind group therapy that they have. And it was my first time there in group therapy. And I remember I was late and everybody had gone and it was my turn to speak. And they're all just looking at me. And I'm like, you just introduce yourself and say something. I literally just said my name and I just started crying. Like, it was that bad. I was so broken, like spiritually, physically. It was such a journey. And then so I made it a habit. It was every Monday. It would be free yoga at 7, and then the Remind group was like at 8:30.
Okay, so right after.
And I did it, and I kept going every Monday, apart from my Cheer Memorial physical therapy and everything else I was doing. I just kept going. And I mean, it's just, it just brings me goosebumps on speaking that, because it's like, I remember those days where I thought the change didn't happen overnight. It was all just consistency and just enjoying the process.
A little bit at a time.
Yeah. So I know when you spoke about that, everybody just kind of meant where they're supposed to be at that same time. I also remember walking Memorial Park, that 3-mile
loop.
3-mile loop. I was on that mile, and I remember I was just so hard on myself. And I was like, I gotta focus on my steps. I'm like visualizing my feet touching the ground and me continuing. And then this guy just comes out of nowhere, just like, hey, like,
where'd you come from?
Yeah, he's all like, I see you are you okay? Do you need any help? Like, you kind of limping a little. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Yeah, I got an injury. And then he started making fun of me in a way. He started limping too. He was like, I got a limp too. He was like, no, I don't.
Oh man.
It was just what he did for me at that time was basically get me out of my head.
Yeah.
At the end, he made me laugh, and he told me something that I'll never forget. And he said, you got to enjoy the journey, mama. Aww. You got to enjoy it. Have fun with it. Don't keep focusing on how it's going to get better. It gets better by just having fun with it. And that was just a random stranger. Never saw him again. He's just like a little fairy guy. Just never saw him again. But those words kept me going back and back. So I would do the trails. I would do other trails. I would do Buffalo Bayou. And it's just, I understood it. I get it. It was never the destination. It was always the journey. And I was like, okay, I get it now. I get it. But in between, I always had to keep refocusing on how compassionate am I towards myself? What is my why? What am I really doing this for? And it was a constant reevaluation. I feel like a lot of work, both mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, everything. It was, and now we're in 2024, and I've actually prayed for an opportunity like this, to be honest, because I always told myself, if I just had a personal trainer to just tell me what's going to be good and what's not going to be good, and watch my how I'm doing my workouts and making sure I don't injure myself, because that's why I always kind of like hesitated joining a gym. I was like, I don't know, it is a little pricey, and I'm also like rebuilding myself financially as well. But at the same time, I was like, if I only could get that opportunity and have that personal trainer just to focus in on me and really root for me and really show me the steps on where I'm at and where we're going, I know I could just really have that level up. And I mean, it's amazing. Like, I feel like I could look back in all these moments that I've leveled up, and for sure, for a normal person, maybe they don't seem it like a level up, but to me, it is amazing what the human body can do. Yeah, especially when you're connected with your intentions and with a goal. I Yes, use me as an example, please, because sign my name. Like, I don't care. At this moment, I feel like a lot of people need to hear tough situations. I never asked this upon myself. I've had so many times when I would think, why me? But again, this journey not only changed me, but it humbled me into that acceptance of this is all a bigger picture. I don't know who I'm actually out there speaking with, but people need to know. And all I got to do is just get out of my own way.
Yeah. And even to that extent, like that can be the hardest part. Like as simple
it
as
is.
it sounds.
No, and that's one of the things I've understood. Self-compassion and self-love is the hardest thing to master. And that is like, man, it just puts me back. Like I could get into it, but just that definitely. it's really tough. Right now I really see it, especially with the youth. That's another passion that I have, that our youth is our future. They are. They're going to be taking care of us, so we got to make sure we're taking care of them right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I know.
To hear all of the obstacles and the trials and the jumps and the under ropes that you had to take and do, to see you still here, I feel like is a blessing for me to know that like God already knew the plan. Like he knew that we were going to be here one day to be sharing your story with everybody who's watching and everybody who maybe isn't here right now but will be soon. And so I just want to say I hear you, I see you, and I can't wait to just see all of the amazing things that you do, not only within these next 3 months, but the next 3 years, the next 10 years. Like it's so, we forget about that part too. Like we're always worried about, oh my God, like, you know, what I did has affected me in this way, and like, oh my God, like what I'm doing now is going to affect that time. But it's like we forget to live in the now, which I feel like is very important to remember and actually do. And I think you're doing a great job at that just by showing up.
I appreciate that. And yeah, that's the tough part, showing up. I understood that as well. It was just show up. Everything will just fall into place.
Where it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, can I give you a thank you? Okay. And so your very unique and passionate story of how you got in here today has landed this opportunity. Like you prayed for it, you manifested it in whatever way that you believe in. I definitely feel like I always say, like I think I even mentioned it in the video that I announced the giveaway. Like the path was already written, like the story is already written. It's just a matter of us just showing up and living through it. And so when I called you, I actually called you before I made the announcement video because I wanted to have that connection with you before. So when I called you, I know it's kind of random. I didn't text you. I didn't do anything. So what were some of the feelings that you felt when you received the call? Like, did you have a feeling? Like, what was your intuition about that call?
It was funny because actually the night before I had mentioned it for the first time to another friend of mine, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm putting, that whole jinxing myself kind of thing, but I was like, yeah, let's see what happens. I'm gonna start telling more people about what I signed up for. And when you called me, I really was like, oh, maybe she just needs some more information. Maybe it's another interview that we want to you really caught me off guard. I was just thinking, that's one thing I failed to ask you was, when's the announcement going to come out? So I was like, maybe it'll come out in February. I don't know. Maybe she's going to give herself some time. I don't know. But yeah, you really caught me off guard. So literally when you said it, I was like, oh, I stopped everything I was doing. I was like multitasking while you called me. I remember I was telling
you were cleaning out, and that was probably a sign, like for you. You said you were getting rid of all those little things that you just had built up, and so
I was cleaning my room, and I was finding things from like 2019. I was like, yeah, we don't need this anymore. Like, come on. And it was just so cute how that just happened, that phone call, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening now. It's real, like it's real. So Because I also had told my friend, I was like, you know what? If I don't get chosen, I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do something for 3 months and really hit it hard. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll join the Y. You know, I was already like planning my like, my just in case situation. But I'm just so grateful. And like I said, this is what you're doing is so remarkable, and it's pure. And I think that's what really, that's the connection within us. It's that purity and that honesty and genuine. I think that's really beautiful.
And we're normal people.
I know.
There's nothing special. There's no secret to it. Like the secret is just be real. Be who you are. And I think that was a big light that was shown on me in 2023 was just be you, like be the true you, show who you really are, and that's who you're going to attract. The people that are meant to be in your life at that time. And so I'm glad that has led us to now. So
that's definitely ditto on that. For real.
And so, well, now that you know, and that these next 3 months have a lot in store for you, what is the one thing that you're most excited about? I know there's probably a few things that you're excited, but what's the one thing that you feel like has really been the prayer that you sent up, and now you're going to be receiving that? What's the one thing?
Consistency.
Okay.
I think that's one thing that I really liked, is making this a lifestyle. This is not just I'm gonna quick try fix. This for there's no quick fixes. Like I have completely understood that and accepted that this is the only body I'm gonna get. And if I really want to make the best out of the rest of this little life I have to make sure I take care of it, because without this I can't do anything.
Tell me, what are some of your expectations? Like, there's going to be a lot of things that I ask of you, like show up, do this, do that, send me pictures, meet up with me. What are some of the expectations that you have, not only from me, but just of the journey of this like fitness world?
Expectations, definitely a change in my routine and my relationship with food. I have always had a tough one, especially having Crohn's. I've always had a hard relationship with food, and I feel like one of those things that I've never gotten good at is counting calories or counting, this is, how much intake of carbs are you doing? How much protein? I'm like, oh gosh, this is so overwhelming. So one of those expectations are that getting better and feeling more confident in knowing, okay, right off the bat, I already know this is going to be this much protein, this is how much I need, etc. So that's one of the expectations I have. My other one I want to say is it's going to hurt. It's gonna hurt. That is inevitable, but I am so eager to go through it. So I already bought my ice packs. Like, no, seriously,
you're prepared.
I am prepared to be like fully immersed in ice again, because that's my other therapies that I do. Ice baths, literally.
Okay, you might have to show me a little bit of that, because I always tell myself like, okay, for real, this time I'm gonna do it, and then I get close and I'm like, I got something to do, actually.
Yeah, I got you. No, seriously,
we actually have one here. We have an ice bath here. Yeah.
Yes, I got you on that, because it's, for me, it has been God-given. 2021, I started doing the Wim Hof method, and that has totally changed me, like really devoted to it. So apart from that, I guess, just seeing another level of how much I could push myself. I think that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready to experience it with you and be the guide, because I know that alone is hard to do on your own. You research things, and there's a list of things that come up, and it's like, okay, do I trust this? Do I trust this? Like, what is going to benefit me the most? Like, they're both good answers, but how do I pick? So I'm definitely excited, and I'm ready to take my fitness level onto the next journey, as far as learning new things and being able to experience certain things with you, to be knowledgeable. And that's one thing that I wanted to mention also, is just becoming knowledgeable on certain things, like, because a lot of the times when somebody gets told something, it's more of like, okay, I'll just do it now, and then when you tell me again, I'll do it. But it's no, like getting to the root, like why is this happening? So I want to invite any questions that you have. Like if we're doing something, you're like, okay, why? Like there's a reason behind everything that we do, and so if you ever question or you want to know what's the reason, I definitely invite all of the questions that you have, and it can be. If I don't know the answer, I'll probably tell you. Let me get back to you. We can figure it out together.
And that's okay. That's part of the journey. Is the reality. I'm gonna understand parts of my body that I haven't tapped into yet. So yeah, I know there's gonna be questions, and it's okay. That's the whole trial and error feeling. You know, just be okay with it. Yeah. Good.
And so this is my last question for you. I asked this in your interview, and so I just want everybody to know this question. But in your own words, what does happiness mean? Like, how do you define happiness for yourself?
Oh, yes. Happiness for myself is gratitude.
Yeah.
I've been in a full understanding that whatever's happening, I'm going to be grateful for it. I'm going to be grateful that I can get up in the morning and put my feet on the ground.
Yeah.
And I actually practice it constantly. And that's what keeps me happy all the time. Like it's a realization that, yeah, you're going to see some crazy stuff. That's inevitable. But at the end, you know,
thank you.
Thank you. I get to see that crazy stuff. And I get to choose how I'm going to react. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. It's definitely a profound gratitude. And it really leaves me speechless, to be honest.
Yeah. I think gratitude really also opens the door for perspective. It's like, okay, you can have an instance happen to you, but what are the lens that you look at it through? Are you going to look at it with, okay, this is the lesson that I'm meant to learn, and this is where I'm going to learn and do better next time? Or are you going to sit there and like drown in your sorrows of why it happened to you? So definitely just being thankful for the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, and everything in between is definitely what brings happiness. So
and I love how you put that contrast, because I feel like I've been at both sides of it, of the drowning in my sorrow to full gratitude.
Exactly.
And it's just
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's madness. It's literally like, wow, that's speechless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I am beyond, like, I don't even know how to put it into words, but the amount of excitement and gratitude again that I have in my heart right now for this moment that we're sharing it right now. But from back in March when we were standing right in front of each other to what we're going to be able to experience in the next 3 months. So being able to share this moment with you and look forward to the journey, from the lessons, from the trials, the errors, everything that we're going to go through together, and to be able to share it with everybody. And so I invite everybody to congratulate Laura, first of all, for her placement on this giveaway, and I want to invite everybody to stay in the loop and stay caught up. If there's ever any questions that anybody has about Laura's particular, anything about her journey, certain things that she's been able to overcome, she is very, very open to sharing her story, and so yeah, with that being said, let's get to our first workout. And I want everybody to know that there is going to be follow-ups with this video. So we'll do a few check-ins from now until the end of the 3 months. And so if there's anything that anybody wants to know or is curious about or really wants to see a part of this journey, I am so open to it. I am excited, and I can't wait to see what we can accomplish together.
Yeah, I'm excited too.